Welcome to another episode of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Shannon Clement. Big thanks to Devin for stepping in while I was away. We have our next installments of Dragon Corner, Heart of the Cards, Look Back, and Dead on Arrival. Plus, we battle to see what is the best Marvel Cinematic Universe film. But first, let's talk about the news of the week. New York Comic Con took place from October 4th to the 7th. Typically, we don't get as much news that drops as we do at the San Diego's Comic Con, but New York did not disappoint. Let's start with some of the trailers that dropped during the event. First up, Aquaman. Warner Brothers released the next trailer for the DC Comics character, but it wasn't the normal 2 minutes and 30 seconds a trailer usually is. Because it debuted at New York Comic Con, the trailer was 5 minutes of film. The film takes place after the event of Justice League as Arthur Curry, once again, played by Jason Momoa, being torn between his human half and his Atlantean half, as his half-brother, played by Patrick Wilson, decides to wage war on the humans on land. The footage showcases the dynamic between Curry and Mura, played by Amber Heard, towards the end of the trailer. We are treated with a shot of Curry in the iconic Aquaman costume from the comics. And we here at Nerd Central would like to ask, how did the director, James Wan, make one of the most made fun of costumes in all comics of the most badass costume to ever grace the screen? How? We would like to know. However, they did it. The film will be released on December 21st. Speaking of the DC Comics, the streaming service DC Universe got 2 new trailers for shows heading exclusively for the platform. Harley Quinn is first. The trailer is only a teaser, but shows off the tone of the show, with Quinn breaking the fourth wall and speaking directly with the audience. She even threw some shade at the canceled Deadpool animated show from Donald Glover. The show seems to have a lighter tone, but will still use language we can't really say on TV. Harley Quinn also has a new voice actor. Kaylee Cuoco, Penny from The Big Bang Theory, provides the voice. No news on when Harley Quinn will be released, but it should be soon. The other DC Universe trailers was Titans. Fans of the teams in attendance at Comic-Con were treated with the first episode of the show, but us who didn't attend the event were treated to the whole team together for the first time. The show is now available to stream on the DC Universe streaming service, with the second season already ordered. Now let's take it to the next installments of Dragon Corner and Heart of the Cards. Take it away, guys.
Hello and welcome back to Dragon Corner. I could not be more excited that you're here, because this week we're covering possibly the most popular feature in Dragon Ball besides Super Saiyans, Fusion. Well, Namekian Fusion made an appearance during Goku and company's time on Namek, and trust me, we'll talk about that. The most iconic fusion method is revealed by Goku while Majin Buu is terrorizing the Earth. During Goku's second stint in the afterlife, he made a species of extinct aliens named the Metamorans, who were excellent fighters because of a dance they created to temporarily merge into a being with superior power to that of the original participants combined. Goku, believing Gohan to be dead and reaching the end of his provisional day in Living World, teaches his youngest son Goten and Vegeta's son Trunks the fusion dance in the hopes that they would be able to stand up to Majin Buu. The dance requires perfect performance and synchronization down to the user's power level and breathing patterns. But eventually, Gotenks is born. Although Goten is only 7 and Trunks is 8, Gotenks capitalizes on the fact that they are both fighting prodigies and fully skips Super Saiyan 2, moving on to 3 after only a few days of training. Although Goku and Vegeta use the dance to transform into Gogeta in spin-offs like Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Heroes, they've never attempted it in the main series. This kind of fusion lasts only 30 minutes, although it is sometimes shorter due to extreme battle damage or overexertion. The other main form of fusion is introduced during Goku and Vegeta's fight with Super Buu, who had absorbed Gotenks, Gohan, and family friend Piccolo. Potara fusion requires the fusees to each don a Kai's earring. This process creates an entirely new person with traits and memories taken from the original fusees. This transformation is permanent for Kais, but only lasts an hour for mortals. Vegeto, or Vegerat, depending on your translation, appears again during the fight with Zamasu, who performed the same kind of fusion with his alternate self, Goku Black. This time the fusion lasts only a few minutes because of the immense power of Vegeto's Super Saiyan Blue form. In the promotional anime Super Dragon Ball Heroes, Vegeta returns in his training gear and uses the Kaioken times 20 on top of his blue form. Universe 6 Saiyans Caulifla and Kale use the earrings to become Kefla, whose base form handled Super Saiyan God easily, and whose Super Saiyan 2 form required the usage of Ultra Instinct Omen to defeat. There is much debate to whether Gogeta or Vegito is stronger. Vegito's transformation is said to be more effective and multiplies the user's power by tens of times, though Toriyama suspects that the fusion dance's emphasis on balance could bring out more potential. So why are we talking about Fusion? Well, promotion for the upcoming film has had an interesting footnote. Fusion Reborn is getting a 4K theatrical release. There's been a strange emphasis on a mystery fighter in promotional material. A data mine of the game Xenoverse 2 revealed possible Broly and Gogeta DLC characters, and an animator on the film said in a Japanese talk show that he has been practicing his Gogeta. This evidence suggests that we may see a main series Gogeta take on a main series Broly. And if you still don't get why that's a big deal, well, I guess you'll have to tune in to next week's Dragon Corner, where we'll cover the big man himself, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. See you next week.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Central's Heart of the Cards with your host Bradley Justice. I will be taking a deep dive into the anime juggernaut that is Yu-Gi-Oh!, or what I like to call the Friendship Show.
It's times when you're down that you need friends around the most.
She's right. That's why I was able to stand up after the lightning blast, and Odeon wasn't. You guys, I figured it all out. I know how I was able to get to my feet and win the duel.
Huh?
'Cause you helped me.
Okay, before I begin to talk about this season, I just want to address the intro. Friends, or friendships, will not help you survive a lightning strike. Now into the review of Season 4, the Seal of Orichalcos arc. The season starts after Yugi just won the Battle City tournament at Kaiba's new island, and Kaiba decides to blow up his island and drive off in a Blue Eyes White Dragon jet. Talk about giving a kid some money. Shortly after Yugi obtained all the god cards, they were stolen by a group of mercenaries that believe in an all-powerful card called the Seal of Orichalcos. Their goal is to rid the world of all evil and anyone who doesn't believe in the Orichalcos. The card's effects in the show are powerful. It cannot be destroyed. It increases the attack of all your monsters you control by 500 points. Allows the user to control a back row of monsters that cannot be attacked while a monster is in the front row. And it takes away the soul of the loser to be soul sacrificed for Darts, the leader of the group, and the Great Leviathan, the monster Darts wants to resurrect. On the other side, Yugi, Kaiba, and Joey were granted amazing cards called the Legendary Dragons, which each one of them having a special ability. Yugi can use his dragon, the Eye of Timaeus, to fuse with any other monster on the field and make a more powerful card. Kaiba can use his dragon, the Fang of Critias, to fuse with any trap card, and Joey has the ability to fuse with anything to make a spell card with his dragon, the Claw of Hermos. This season was the best. I understand it was mostly filler because it had nothing to do with Yami and learning about his past, but having a season where Joey, Kaiba, and Yugi all have the same screen time, and the soundtrack was amazing. Just listen to the immediate change of tone when the Sea of Orichalcos is played.
Now I activate the Seal of Orichalcos! Excellent. What have I done?
Oh, and the best part of the season, Yugi loses his soul saving the Pharaoh because he played the Seal of Orichalcos and lost. It showed that the unbeatable can be beat. This has been Heart of the Cards with Bradley Justice. Make sure you stay tuned for more Nerd Central.
Welcome back to Nerd Central. Some more news for you guys. DC Comics didn't just want us to be talking about their news coming out of Comic-Con. Oh no, they had to drop a few bombshells during the week after the con. During the summer, it was announced that Ruby Rose was cast to play Kate Kane, aka Batwoman. Last week, we got our first look at Rose in costume, and it's like the comic has come to life. The character will make her Arrowverse debut in the mega crossover between The Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl, with a series of her own coming next year. The other bombshell is a developing story, but we thought we should report it anyways. James Gunn is heading to the DCEU. According to reports, Gunn has been tapped to write Suicide Squad 2, while eyeing to direct the film. This comes after Disney fired Gunn this summer over the resurfacing of just disgusting tweets from Gunn's past. There was some speculations to where Gunn would end up after the firing. If the reports are true, we here at Nerd Central would like to wish Gunn the best of luck in the DCEU. Maybe his style of films is what the universe needs. Who knows? Now let's take it to the next installments of Look Back and Dead on Arrival. It's all yours, Mikey and Cody.
Hello, and welcome to Look Back, a retrospective on shows that I used to love to shows that I love in the present day. I'm Mikey, and childhood TV show crossovers were one of my favorite types of TV specials. And when you get two of Nickelodeon's top cartoons at a time, you know things are going to get crazy. This is the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour trilogy. 3 episodes, 3 plot lines, 1 jumbled up universe. That basically sums up the entire trilogy, but I can go a little bit more in depth. The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour trilogy is a collection of 3 episodes in which the worlds of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius and the Fairly Odd Parents collide, bringing together some of Nickelodeon's best characters. Now, the 3 episodes do not have a cohesive plot, and instead, each episode has their own storyline. In the first episode, the main antagonist is Mr. Crocker from the Fairly Odd Parents. The second episode, Professor Calamitous from Jimmy Neutron. And in the third episode, they make their own villain from scratch. In fact, the only thing that stays constant is Jimmy and Timmy's affection for Cindy Vortex, which in my opinion is actually really funny. When I first saw this trilogy many years ago, I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, the shows are kinda similar. A boy protagonist, 2 male friends, a love interest, you know, most plots have that. But for some reason, these two came together like peanut butter and jelly. Absolutely perfect. By combining Timmy's power of magic and Jimmy's power of giant brains, they were basically unstoppable. And the writing between the two was absolutely fantastic. To me though, more interesting than the writing was the animation, which they pulled off to a stunning degree. These two shows have 2 completely different animation styles, one 2D, one 3D. And how they animated these characters in different universes made sense and it just worked. Well, besides Jorgen in the 3D world. That wasn't the best. But besides that, it was great. And overall, I really enjoyed the crossover. Now, because it was a TV special, there were no toys, there were no games, there was nothing like that. But honestly, that's for good riddance. They probably would have been terrible anyways. But the TV special itself was absolutely fantastic. Now, after merging 2 cartoons together, I think it's time to break from tradition a little bit and go to some live action and see one of my favorite shows of all time. Stay tuned to Nerd Central.
Hello and welcome to Dead on Arrival. I'm Cody Nance, and I've noticed my last few segments have been about demon hunting shows. The trend continues this week though, as we take a look at Devil is a Part-Timer. Yes, here we are. We have returned to Anime Land. By the way, shout out to the amazing Abby Martz for introducing me to Anime Land and Devil is a Part-Timer. She's awesome. Upon first glance, Devil is a Part-Timer seems like the simple battle between heaven and hell that we would all expect. But then some magical stuff happens and it suddenly gets interesting. Satan, a few of his minions, and a few of his enemies are transported to our world, transformed into humans, and lose their powers. As he tries to get back to normal, Satan also has to do normal human stuff, such as eating, paying rent, and holding a steady job. The fish out of water aspect here is strong and hilarious. I mean, come on. Satan works at McDonald's. It's almost impossible to picture that without getting a good chuckle in. Sure, there are your typical anime battles, but they take a backseat to the comedy of these demons trying to act like humans. And I honestly really appreciate that. Oddly enough, the episodes that featured the epic battles were my least favorite parts of the series. Not that these fights were bad, I just wanted to get back to the laughing, while Satan tries to deal with human women being attracted to him, and not quite understanding what flirting really is. That really speaks for just how well the comedy works here, as I usually feel the exact opposite about a series. I just want to get to the fights usually, but here, I want to be as far away from them as possible. It's only 13 episodes long, so if you're just trying to get into anime and are looking for a good place to start, Devil as a Part-Timer is a good show for you. When researching Cause of Death, all I found was a quote from creator Satoshi Wagahara. There is no way I can promise a second season. This is decided by the higher-ups, and they may never decide to produce that sequel. As the anime was released in 2013, it seems pretty hopeless that we'll ever get a second season of this great anime. From Dead on Arrival on Nerd Central, this is Cody Nance saying, I can't eat a computer!
Thanks, guys. Be sure to stick around for Showdown as Cody gets into the discussion for the best Marvel Cinematic Universe film. And speaking of the MCU, the Marvel Netflix shows are technically a part of it. The show that started the Netflix shows showed off another trailer for the 3rd season of Daredevil. The trailer teased the villain for the season, and it's one of the Daredevil's biggest villains. The trailer introduces us to a character called Agent Poindexter, who is teased to turn into the character of Bullseye. However, the trailer shows Poindexter in Daredevil's suit. Who knows what he will become, Bullseye, but we won't have to wait long on the 3rd season drops Friday, October 19th. Another streaming service debuted a trailer, a premiere date, and an introduction of an iconic character. And no, Star Wars did not drop anything else for the Disney streaming service. It was the other science fiction juggernaut, Star Trek. Star Trek Discovery showed off some new looks at the 2nd season of the CBS All Access exclusive show. What everyone is talking about was our first look at younger Spock, played by Ethan Peck, as the series is set about a decade before the original series. Season 2 will drop its first episode on January 17th, 2019, exclusively on CBS All Access. That's going to do it here for this week's Nerd Central. Nerd Showdown is next. You can get caught up on all of the previous episodes on KNWT YouTube page. Also, follow KNWT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And follow Nerd Central on Twitter at nerd_central_TV. The battle to see what is the best Marvel Cinematic Universe film will commence after this break. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Showdown, the part of Nerd Central where we battle it out on a particular topic we have no business debating. I'm your host, Evan Van Zant, and with the Blu-ray release of Ant-Man and the Wasp this week, we ask the question, what is the best film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? With me today, returning from last week, I have story behind the story producer, Molly Gardner, and the creator of Dead on Arrival, Cody Nance. Molly, why don't you start us off? Why do you believe Avengers is the best MCU film?
I believe that Avengers is the best film because this is the first time we get to see all of these characters really come together. We got to see them in their own movies, but this was the first time they all came together to fight Loki and watch as Loki's tearing apart the universe, and they all have to set aside their differences to come together, and it's really interesting to see how these characters react. This sets the tone for not only the previous movies that were in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also the later movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Guardians pulled off what is nearly a miracle. It took 5 unknown characters to the average audience, established them in a single movie very well, and made them household names. you can go anywhere, say, I am Groot, and people know what you're talking about. Like, I don't think that would have been possible without this movie. Every time I see Star-Lord dance at the very beginning when Come and Get Your Love is playing, it brings a smile to my face every time, and it's amazing that a movie can do that. It just makes me so happy every time I watch it, and I never get tired of it. Star-Lord's mask is almost as iconic as Iron Man's at this point.
Well, it came out, if I'm correct, it came out 2 years after Avengers came out, and Guardians is low-key a cop-out of Avengers because it has all these different characters coming together and making each other laugh and everything like that, and they're all different in their own way, but I really think that it's pretty much Avengers 2.0, just with different characters and with different in space. As much as people like to see the Guardians of the Galaxy, if you frame by frame, if you put it against Avengers, it's pretty much the same movie.
Guardians has much better pacing than the Avengers. The first half of Avengers, barely anything happens. When the first half of Guardians, we already have 2 fight scenes, one being the amazing intro with the Star-Lord dance and everything, and the prison break. Now, Avengers, you have Loki's opening, and that's pretty much it for a lot of the movie. Guardians has way more jokes, and much more of them land than the Avengers. Also, the Avengers isn't nearly as rewatchable as Guardians. My second time watching Avengers, I laughed at maybe 1 or 2 of the jokes. Now, my first time, yes, I did laugh at many of the jokes, but second time, they weren't as funny and didn't have nearly as big as an impact. Every time I watch Guardians, same result. Happy Cody.
Avengers really set the tone for not only the previous MCU movies, but the future MCU movies. And Guardians was lucky. They were lucky that they made such a funny movie and it was a hit. But nothing can compare to the first Avengers and how excited everybody was when it came out, and how all these characters came together and defeat Loki. And even later in the MCU universe, we see Loki dies, and it's heartbreaking because in the first Avengers, he was the bad guy. So it's really interesting to see how much these characters have changed since the first movie.
It established how intimidating Thanos really is. And up until then, we just knew him as, hey, that purple guy smiled at the camera. Ooh, he's creepy. Gamora's death in Avengers was just that much more impactful because we saw her and Star-Lord's relationship build over the years, and it all started here when he put headphones on her, tried to kiss her, and then she took a knife to his throat. That's how you subvert expectations.
That's going to do it for this week's Showdown, and the winner is Cody.
I am Groot.
You can head to Nerd Central's Twitter to show your support for this week's Showdown. Nerdmageddon is coming up next. You can get Story Behind the Story at 6:30 p.m. right here on KNWT Channel 8. See you next week on Nerd Central. People knew it was known. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week.
Its taste is on my mind.